Hey all, here OS Reviews. So Type-C peripherals are finally starting to gain momentum. We've been seeing more and more smartphones, laptops, even in the budget to mid-end segment start to use this new type of connector. And we're also seeing more accessories like power banks and speakers start to use Type-C as well. And today we're taking a look at a microphone that's also using a Type-C connector, meaning that it can also be plugged into, let's say, a smartphone if you have a Type-C device, such as a Smartisan Nut Pro 2 or a newer Xiaomi phone that allows you to begin recording higher definition audio if you are a musician, or if you're trying to record lectures as a student by using this microphone. So it works with both computers and Type-C smartphones alike. It's called the MAONO Fairy and it retails for about $60. So the price is a little high, but it does promise to deliver almost pro grade or at least hi-fi grade audio recordings that has very little latency because it is using Type-C, which is a digital kind of signal compared to 3.5 millimeters or auxiliary, which is using an analog connection. Hopefully that will also improve the audio experience if you're recording it using this particular mic. So on the side here is some basic information. It is a omnidirectional microphone, so it can pick up sound from around the room. You can also change some of the sound signatures directly by adjusting some of the knobs. It has a built-in kickstand as well, which is pretty cool. So right on top we have just the microphone itself, and we'll take a closer look at the design in a second. Down below here we have the instruction manuals telling us how to connect it and use the various kickstands. There is the Type-C cable that we have, which plugs directly onto the bottom of the microphone, and we also have additional arms that allows it to stand upright if I want to have it be sitting on a desk at all times. And there's even a additional USB Type-C to Type-C cable, which you would use to plug it into your smartphone that supports Type-C. Upon closer inspection, the Type-C is actually an adapter on the smartphone cable. I can actually unplug it to reveal a slightly older micro USB on the inside. So I can plug the Type-C into the microphone. The other side can be plugged into another Android or Windows phone that uses micro USB instead of Type-C, and I can also switch it to Type-C if I want to. So it's actually a pretty thoughtful cable that they built on in. So there's two functions or two tips in one. Going back to the design of the microphone now, it is a very well constructed mic, feels very premium as the price should suggest, and on the bottom we also have kind of this rubber pad that can be peeled back just to have a slightly better surface if you want to have it stand up directly on a table. And the integrated kickstands can also be rotated outwards as arms for it to stand upright like this at a tilted angle like so. I can also attach it onto the additional longer arm if I wanted to, just by popping it into this particular stand, and it will stay in place like this. Otherwise, we also have the aforementioned knobs, which changes both the sensitivity of the microphone, and a second knob which controls the volume of the headphones, because there is a pass-through auxiliary output on the back as well, so you can plug in a pair of headphones and also listen to what the microphone is picking up as you are doing your recording in real time. When plugged into a compatible Type-C phone, like we have over here, you'll see a small icon on the top right-hand corner, whether it's charging or an audio USB signal. You'll also see a green status LED start to flash on the button that you can see here, and that means it's turned on and the microphone has been activated. I can actually tap on this key once, it'll turn red, and that means it's muted, so nothing will be picked up by the mic. Tap on it once again to unmute it. There is actually a very small built-in amplifier, so if I actually turn this all the way to the right over here, it magnifies the sound that it picks up, so even if you have a very quiet noise or someone who's across the room and speaking, it'll try and pick up their voice pretty well, but it also tends to pick up a bit more static if you try to amplify it. I usually just leave it in the middle mode, which is the normal mode, instead of dimming it or making it louder. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. This is a test of the microphone. Let's try also playing around with the volume here, making it slightly more quiet. Test, test. This is all the way silent. And now we're going to try and magnify things 100%. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. This is a test of the microphone. Let's try also playing around with the volume here, making it slightly more quiet. Test, silent. And now we're going to try and magnify things 100%. Test, test, test. So as you heard from the audio clip, everything does tend to work quite well, but as aforementioned, if you try and magnify the voice or amplify it, there is a bit more of distortion at higher volumes, and it tends to crackle a little bit more, not as high fidelity, but if you leave it at the average settings, it works well for vocals, for music, as well as just for speech in general. Now, one downside, however, is when you plug it into the Type-C port, it also acts not only as the microphone, but also is recognized as a speaker, and as a result, there is no longer any sound that will come out of the phone phone's internal speakers if you try and play back your tracks or play back any music. You have to unplug it, and then audio will come out as you saw in our sample there. So the only way for you to continue to listen to music or listen back to your tracks is to plug in headphones directly onto the mic instead of onto the phone. So that's a bit of a strange design that I wanted to quickly point out. As far as the recording quality, having a larger mic as well as a filter kind of applied onto the top here with sponge covering up the omnidirectional mic definitely helps if you are speaking more closely and let's say you tend to breathe heavily or there's a bit more popping as you're talking. The filter definitely reduces those sounds and makes it sound more natural and more clean compared to a small mic on the bottom of your phone, which is more sensitive to things like wind. Compatibility, you can see it also works with an iPhone, but you have to get your own lightning adapter since that's not included in the box. That's more or less it for our hands-on review of the Fairy USB Type-C microphone. I think this is a pretty clever mic just because of the number of ways that you can adjust the position, the fact that you can actually amplify the sound directly on here without the need of additional software. And if you're getting this to record lectures, for podcasts, for singing, for Skype, all of those situations, it's a great microphone to use with both computers and smartphones alike. Thanks for watching this video here at OS Reviews. You can check out more details down in the description below, but this has been our review. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been the Fairy, also known as the AU-902 USB Type-C mic.